One of the most underrated games Mojang ever produced was Minecraft Dungeons, a peculiar spin-off to the base game made in the 20s. It got very little attention in its day, but had a loyal fan base and a slowly growing one, too, at that. Eventually, it got cut off from all support.
It is time for our base craft to be our only craft.
And we thought it was dead, until just about a month ago, Mojang announced a sequel coming this autumn.
While I think Minecraft Dungeons was amazing, I also think it was Mojang's first real attempt at a spin-off, and that means there is room for improvement. My name is Illager, and please sit back as I talk about everything changed and new I'd like to see in this upcoming game. Let's begin. Let's start with one of the original's biggest setbacks, and that was the inability to really commit your character to something. Obviously, one could get unique sets of artifacts and weapons and enchant them to play special roles, but I'd love to see some sort of skill set menu where players can actually spend enchantment-like points on advancing not just their tools, but certain specialties that are applied directly to their avatar so they stay no matter what. Still, I liked the plasticity of the game, so I wonder if these could be implemented so as to make it so maybe some traits are mutually exclusive while not necessarily being permanent, if you know what I mean. It'd be neat if you could maybe spend a significant number of X or Y, whatever other points to undo these changes, so while it's hard, it is still possible to always remake your character without necessarily starting another save. Another thing I'd love to see is maybe a hardcore mode. In the base game Dungeons, we saw a meter concerning difficulty that left us at Apocalypse Plus, and while death was super inducible onto the player, it also had no consequences, apart from losing maybe 8 minutes of progress in a level, which can be restarted with no issue. What if, though, in Dungeons 2, we got to see a mode where if you die, let's say 3 times for mercy's sake, your save is completely locked? Add a leaderboard which shows which players got the furthest and what their loadouts were as they lost their games, and I think it could be really cool. I'd probably not take advantage of this feature if it existed, but I know for a fact it would keep a small community alive as they try to beat records, and if one section of the community lives, as long as they aren't super toxic, it generally helps keep other sub-communities within the game's larger fan base alive. More so, apart from the featured stuff like what the player can do, I'd like to see some things concerning the story. I think it'd be super cool if maybe we saw a sort of callback to Minecraft Legends' Warriors faction, as they also team up with the heroes to fight this invasive force, the Skulk. Maybe the Illagers needn't actually help the heroes, maybe the two can even fight when they meet in the levels, but if the story explained it to us that the reason we are seeing Illagers down in the Deep Dark is for the same reason they were created in Legends, that is, to fight an otherwise overworld-destroying cataclysm, I'd be overjoyed. Some of these official images also show the testificate cross, which is generally associated with villagers on banners. It could also mean villagers or even something else, since it seems to be in all sorts of weird places, but I like to imagine it means Dungeons' original enemies are returning again. Also, seeing the legendary host dimension would be cool, and some of the artwork we've seen implies the game may take place there, but more so I wonder if we could see a corrupted version of it with the Skulk. In games like Dungeons, there is seldom room for such an idyllic dimension, so maybe this means there's something bad happening there. Also, what's with this Maw creature being now called a Twisted Warden? Does that imply that the place whence it came, likely the other side of the portal, has non-twisted variants? Healthy Skulk could be interesting because Skulk feeds off death. With this other thing, maybe a hostless Skulk feed off life. Flames of Creation could have some cool lore implications too, even if they don't appear directly in this game because of this. And I wonder if it could be an inverse of the more villainous attempts at opening a portal in the base game with Soulfire? Imagine it with the Flames of Creation instead. This is all lore-ish speculation about stuff I want in the game, remember. I haven't any idea of if this will even be referenced. I feel as though a level dedicated to the creaking could also be insanely cool. The thing with the creaking is that it doesn't move when in the player's line of sight, and I wonder if we could maybe get a secret level that's set in a pale garden where it's pitch dark out in the night, save for where we shine our torch, and we have to hear auditory cues to tell if the creature is nearby and try to face its direction with our light when it is. Maybe make there only be one creaking, but it perpetually pathfinds to you through the level and can basically one-shot you if it gets close enough, so you have to be very careful and stay ahead while you can only see where you specifically shine your torch. Once it finds you, you just have to stare at it for 5 or so seconds before it falls apart and respawns earlier in the path, giving you a chance to gain more ground. At that point, it's much more of a game of trying to stay ahead despite being mostly blind. Perhaps the level could end with you finding this massive heart that powers the whole forest and destroying it. I'd love to see more specialized levels that, instead of having different ambiance or mobs, have a completely different set of rules by which they can be won or debuffs to prevent such winning. Kind of like the drowning features from the Hidden Depths DLC of the original, but with blindness here and else things elsewhere. On a totally different note, would creative mode work in dungeons alongside the ability to make totally custom levels, maybe by building them in Minecraft Original and exporting them, or using a built-in Dungeons 2 system and add texture packs to said levels as well as determine weather and time of day? Ahem. Editor Illager here, but as of yesterday, from my editorial perspective, when the Xbox trailer was released, it's come to our attention as a community that texture packs may be difficult to add since the developers have changed the whole art style out of the usual 16x16 norm. I love the new art style honestly, and think custom texture packs could still be supported, but it would take more consideration on how to go about adding them. I would like to see some kind of cheat mode where you can spawn any mobs wherever and get tools with preset enchantments and whatever armor you want instantly. It'd be cool to see what clicks in a separate save before committing to the grind in your proper one. I'm not sure what Wiper means with endless mode, but if this is it, then I absolutely concur. Well, on that comment actually, I think this commenter is right in that craftable gear would be great. Perhaps all the items you salvage can either give you your choice of emeralds, like in the old game, or the raw materials by which said items were made so you can craft new, different ones. The recipes would probably have to be simplified for the sake of gameplay, and I think this could be a problem concerning the lore of dungeons, but the only other issue I can think of is that a player could craft and deconstruct a piece until it has the perfect enchantments, which mitigates the grind, and may be good for that. I detest the grind being the sole gimmick of late gameplay, but also feels like cheating, especially since the enchantsmith, or any other enchantsmith adjacent character, already serves that purpose. It'd be cool to see Ancient Hunts cease to be the sole source of good loot and the only like method to re-enchanting gear. Another thing I would really like to see is the ability to explore the ruins of High Block Keep. I'm not sure how long of a time has passed since the fall of the Illager Empire. Valerie's still vivacious state worries me, since clearly it hasn't been too long, but if it is even as short as a few years, a decrepit, crumbling High Block could be amazing to explore with signature locations such as the courtyard and well reappearing, and maybe parts of a now slightly caved-in underhalls. Tğᴇ7126 says that Mojang should add an encyclopedia of sorts that lets the hero write down mobs and collectibles he's found. I think this idea is great and gives the developers a chance to do more with implied lore rather than forcing them to actually show us everything. I know show, don't tell is generally a good rule, but sometimes it can lead us off the main plot too far, and this gives us lore like we'd all want. More collectibles in general would be cool, not weapons per se, like how many people would try to get every unique item in the original game, but rather collecting the maybe 200 rubber ducks hidden around the map, or whatever. Some fun, useless side quests. The newest trailers seem to imply this is something the developers have considered. Alright now, here's a rapid fire of every small thing I want that requires no explanation. PvP combat, another tower, lore, more cutscenes, Archie, Gulk mobs, no, somehow the orb returned, kind to my FPS. Now I also want to really see in general some more support for the game. I know this is vague, but I want support to be kept up, maybe not even through paid DLC content, I feel like they are unfair against gamers, but I want multiplayer, including PvP, to get more of an update than what we saw in Dungeons, since there it did feel like more of an afterthought than anything else. Otherwise, I'm hoping it will be good, but I'm sure it will be. I'm very excited. I want to make more videos playing it when it releases, but in the meantime, I can only express these hopes. I want you to keep hoping for a good game, like thinking about what would make it such, and no matter what, always continue remembering to keep on loring, because I'll see you next time. Bye.